Welcome to the Sageology podcast, where your host Sage shares her astrological and spiritual insights. Sit back, relax, expand your perspective, and enjoy.
Hey, y'all. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Sageology podcast. Today, we are going to be talking about the astrology for the month of October. So, astrologically speaking, October is a great month, and I really do encourage you guys to take advantage of this energy. Like, astrologically speaking, 2025 has been a terrible year. But October is truly just the best month. Like astrology speaking, this is the best astrology that we had in a while, especially looking at all of the astrology that we had to work through and overcome this year. So praise God for the month of October. I highly encourage you guys to take advantage of this energy. I highly encourage you guys to take advantage of this astrology and not let it pass you by. So, when you listen to this podcast and I break down each day that's in the month of October, if you go on my website, you can download a free October astrological calendar. Okay. And you can take notes of the energy that I'm going to be breaking down during this podcast. So when you go to the website and you download the calendar is going to have all the transits on the days of the week. And when I delineate these transits, you can write down whatever resonates with you. I'm going to be going over well, not all of the transits for October, but a lot of the major transits that are happening in the month of October. So you don't have to jot down everything, but it is really beneficial to jot down the things that I say was like, okay, I can see this resonating for me. I can see how this could pertain to me in my personal life. I highly encourage you to write down that information. And regardless, I highly encourage that this is a month where you pay attention to, that you use the good energy, the good astrology that's happening to this month. This is a month where you notice, because this fall is really good for manifestation, y'all. I cannot emphasize this enough. 2025 is the year of a lot of major beginnings that we are going to see really be solidified in years change. Kind of think of like in 2020, we had this major dramatic shift with COVID, right? And then we kind of started to see that that energy wasn't going away. It's kind of like the same thing in the year 2025. So we are in a huge astrological shift that we don't necessarily know yet, but a lot of those initials beginning are coming in this year. And so we will see 2026, 7, 28, 29, that those things are kind of start snowballing. It's like, okay, this is really the reality that we're living in. But we noticed that these issues started to arise, that they started to pop up in 2025. And this month, the month of October, is the best year of 2025. So pay attention to the things that are happening in this month, because these could be seeds and path of new beginnings that you're supposed to follow, that you're going to find yourself rooted in and grounded in the years to come. Or it could be foreshadow of a direction that you're supposed to go that you may not feel comfortable enough or solidified enough to follow just yet. So, highly encourage you to go to my website. Okay, link in the show notes. Download my free October calendar and take notes. If I say something and it resonates with you and you're like, okay, girl, I can see where you're going with this, jot it down. Another thing that I would say too, October is a good month to pay attention to, is a good action-oriented month. November is not so much of an action-oriented month because we're going to be having a retrograde. So it has to do with like a lot of healing and resetting and emotional processing. So October is really the month to, like feet on the ground, do what you got to do. Um, so yeah, let's really get into this energy. Okay, so I try to make this podcast really friendly for the people who are not really into astrology, because I don't want y'all to get so confused by all these astrological terms. But this part of the podcast is going to be very astrological focused and centered. So don't really, don't click away just yet, just because you may not understand everything that I am saying in this instant, in this moment. But I do want to start off by saying just kind of explaining the energy that we're in all the astrological placements that are taking place in the beginning of the month. So coming into October, we have Saturn in Pisces. So Saturn has retrograded back into Pisces. So this is a revisit of the energy that we were dealing with. I wish I had my ephemeris with me. I should take notes on these things before I start this podcast. But this is a revisitation of the energy that we are dealing with like before the summer. So Saturn in Pisces is going to just kind of, this could like be a visitation of some of the struggles or things or lessons that you are learning, that you are experiencing over like the past 2 to 3 years. Um, so Saturn and Pisces deals a lot with faith, trusting in faith, trusting in divine, trusting in the universe. I see a lot of like stuff when it comes to family, when it comes to community, like building family, building community, having faith, like building more so those communal structures. Also do notice that a lot of people are struggling when it comes to abundance in the Saturn and Pisces type energy too, or just kind of like a struggle of when it comes to like a sense of purpose or life path energy, like what am I supposed to do? Where I'm so like what career am I supposed to have? Where Saturn in Aries, which Saturn will retrograde back into Aries, is kind of more so of like, I want to do my own thing. I want to be an individual, or I'm struggling, kind of like initiating these new tasks or being in this new energy. While Saturn in Pisces is more so, you know, struggling with, like faith and your place in the world and your place in the universe and your relationship with the divine and who am I, what I'm supposed to be doing, what is my purpose, what do I contribute, where do I hold in my family, what place do I hold in society, like what place do I hold in my career. Those are the type of energies that we're dealing with is Saturn and Pisces, and also just kind of like a mindset of, abundance or different financial problems or just like the sense of having your needs met. So this is some of the archetypal energy that we're dealing with Saturn and Pisces. So Saturn is retrograde back into Pisces so you can clear up this energy. Now, this is maybe stuff that you struggle with in the past 2 to 3 years, but now those themes should be arising, but you should kind of have more clarity on those themes. And you're supposed to be closing it up, like fully gap. Whereas 2 years ago, or like the past 2 years, I'm sorry, y'all. Hold on. Pause the podcast. I do want to go ahead and give y'all dates because I feel like we just need them. Okay, so for the month of May, Saturn was indeed in Pisces and Saturn went into Aries on May 26th. So from, like in the year of 2025, from January to May, Saturn was it was in Pisces. So if this is kind of like bringing back the month of October, September, you start to think about stuff that was going on in your life from like January to May. Those things are coming back up to surface from May 26th. So May, June, July, August, Saturn was in Aries. In September, Saturn went back into Pisces, and Saturn will be in Pisces come October for the rest of the year. Okay. So Saturn from January to May, Saturn in Pisces, we had a little break. September, Saturn went back into Pisces and it will be in Pisces for the rest of the year. So you may find this fall you're finishing up things that were kind of like going on in the rest of the year, but there should be an energy shift. Whereas it was kind of like a struggle before, now it should feel like you're closing chapters when it comes to these themes, like you have learned the lesson. So we also have Neptune and Aries. I'm not going to talk much about that, but Neptune is in Aries, y'all. We have Uranus and Gemini. So one thing, and Pluto in Aquarius. So I'm actually going to group these together. One thing that I will say about Neptune being in Aries, Uranus being in Gemini, and Pluto being in Aquarius, these are all outer planets that move slower than our typical inner planets. And the fact that all of these outer planets are in the beginning of new zodiac signs is kind of what I was talking about with 2025 being a year where we are ushered into new energy that the world doesn't really quite understand yet, which is why this is a important year to kind of like get ahead of the curve. So this is kind of what I was talking about with that. But I'm not going to get too much into what these outer planet transits, represent. I do talk a bit about it in the September forecast, so feel free to go back and listen to that if you would like. We have Jupiter in Cancer. So Jupiter in Cancer is really good. Jupiter is the planet that deals with abundance, it deals with blessings, and it's in the sign of Cancer. So, where it is exalted. So this is really good for money. This is really good for faith. This is really good for all those things. And this is also helping that Saturn and Pisces energy, where before it kind of felt like harder to have faith and harder to trust in the divine, where now it may feel like, okay, yeah, there's still work that needs to be done. There are still things that I need to do. I still need to build up my discipline. I still need to build up my routine, but it's kind of easier to trust in God. It's a little bit easier to follow God's path, right? Venus and Virgo coming into the beginning of October. Now, this is a more difficult transit. Venus moves very fast, but she's the planet of like beauty, love, aesthetics, money, friendships, relationships. And she struggles in Virgo. So this could be like that energy of being like a little bit, hypercritical of yourself, of your partner, things that Venus rule are just kind of having a little bit of a hard time right now. So give yourself grace when it comes to that. Venus and Virgo is a little bit of like a nitpicky energy or obsessive energy or just kind of like Debbie Downer energy. And a lot of times because Venus and Virgo, she's not getting what she wants is because she's too focused on control. Like, no shade, Virgos, but I'm low key about to shade y'all a little bit. Like, Virgos have this thing, like, oh my God, we're just gonna go here. Welcome to the Sage. Welcome to the Sageology podcast, y'all. Welcome to Sage the Astrologer. I'm sorry, but this is my podcast. So I'm not gonna lie, Virgos are freaks, okay? But have you ever been some Virgos, not all Virgos? I do feel like Virgos are really, really good in bed. Virgos are one of the best signs in sex, but you will notice, like, if you ever had sex with a Virgo, that sometimes Virgos could be like, am I doing this right? Am I doing that right? Did I stroke right? Do you like this? Do you like that? You get what I'm saying? And then they have some Virgos who are so good at it because they're kind of like tapped into their intuition and they know what you like without you knowing what you like. So that's like the Venus and Virgo energy. Venus and Virgo is the person who's not enjoying, the do because they're too in their head about everything. So Venus and Virgo could kind of manifest as a sense of like not enjoying life because you're so obsessing over the details, like I have this, I don't have that, I don't have the right clothes, I don't have the right da 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 da. So you have to disconnect from that energy a little bit and disconnect from the facts, disconnect from the details, disconnect from the control and just drop into your body, just drop it to your feeling, drop it to your intuition and just kind of embrace that. Because when you can disconnect from the energy like, okay, I stroked 3 times in this direction, she not da da da, but you can just like kind of just drop into the feeling and drop into being in a present moment and drop into your body. It's like this feels right, this doesn't feel right. And if you just flow, you can really enjoy it and have a great time. But because Virgo is so obsessive and worried about control, they can't have that good motherfucking time. So let go of control and have a good motherfucking time. Period. So, Sun in Libra, happy Libra season, bringing balance. We have Mercury in Libra. Um, also Mercury and Libra, I that's like mad genius energy to me. Really sharp in the mind. Your logic is very clear, very balanced. You see things from both sides. You're thinking straight, you're thinking clear. It's also good for like the gift of gab and like, like talking up people. Good like salesman energy. Talking up people, communicating really like good for creative energy, good for writing energy, that type of thing. Mercury's in a good position. Mars and Scorpio. This is so good because Mars has been beat up in 2025. So 2025 has been a year where our willpower, okay, our agency, our ability to act and do things has been shitted on. 2025 has just been a year where you just like just just hung on a motherfucking wall. Can't do nothing, just stuck. Life is bitching you, like, like you can't do anything. 2025 has been a year where you just had to take it. You ain't have a lot of agency. You might not have a lot of agency to get out of situations. You may not have had a lot of control over situations. So 2025 could have just been a year of making do with what the fuck you had to do, right? But now that Mars, the planet that deals with our agency, the planet that deals with our willpower, is in Scorpio, where he has his motherfucking power, y'all. Our agency, our sense of agency is coming back. So it's just like, yeah, like a sense of, yeah, I can do this. I can handle it. I can handle this. I know what to do. I know where to go. Like I have this new idea. I'm gonna act on it. I don't have to wait for this person to agree or this person to co-sign or this to kind of fall into place. It's like I can act on it. I can go for it. I can do this. I can do the things that I want to do. So Mars being in Scorpio, chef's kiss, great energy, great for our agency, great for acting, great for all the fucking things. All right. What else? That's it. That's all the planets. So that's just like a little rundown of what's going on in the sky. Oop. Now let's get into October's astrology. Let's get into these transits. Okay, so little disclaimer, I am gonna name the transits, right? But don't focus on the transits. So if you don't know what the fuck Mercury and Libra square Jupiter and Cancer mean, it don't matter. You don't have to know what that means. Just pay attention to what I say when I break it down. Also, too, if you have your calendars, the transits are, put on the calendars, whatever. But if you want to learn more and grow in astrology, you can always Google this, and do your own research. But in this podcast, I'm giving y'all my delineation. So, ooh, let's get into it. October 1st, we have Mercury in Libra square Jupiter in Cancer. So because Mercury deals with intellect and like the details like rational thought, and Jupiter deals with faith, whenever they square each other, there's always a conflict in between what makes sense on paper and what you feel kind of divinely guided to do. I will say Jupiter is in a better position than Mercury, so kind of like focus on your feeling and what you feel called to do. Don't be so discouraged about what's on or what's on the paper or the reality of the situation. Just leave room for God because miracles happen literally every day. It's important to pay attention to Mercury and consider the facts, consider the details of the situation. It's always good to be aware of that, but don't let that kind of like kill your joy, or don't let that be too much of a buzzkill. Like, still just have room for faith and leave room for optimism and leave room for things to change. Another thing that I will say about October, because we have Saturn in Pisces, we have Jupiter in Cancer, and we have Mars in Scorpio. So these three planets are forming something in astrology that we call a grand trine. It is a grand water trine because Scorpio, Pisces, Cancer are all water signs. And so Jupiter is doing well in Cancer, Mars is doing well in Scorpio, and Saturn is there in Pisces. Not too good, not too bad, but it's there, right? But in the month of October, what makes this month such a good month is that we have Mars, our action, our willpower, Jupiter, faith, divine help, and then Saturn, discipline, all working together harmoniously. Whenever you have Saturn and Mars working good together or together working together in a harmonious state, which would be a trine, chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. I love this because Mars is like, again, it's our action, our willpower, it's our ability to do, it's our motivation, it's all these things, right? And Saturn is that discipline. So it's not just like a mm, chef's kiss. Like I love this energy because, okay, like Scorpio, right? Scorpio is very, very, very persistent energy, which is why Mars does so well in Scorpio. It's like you get fixed on something, you can have a dream, you can have a vision, and you locked in. You locked in and you center on your target and you go after it. And then Saturn is also coming through with that persistence and that discipline, that drive. And it's like, okay, I have to do this. Let me continue to do this. Let me continue to do this. And it's kind of like, and the more that you do it, the more that you go after it, the more that you work towards it, is that faith is building, that faith is supporting it. That's Jupiter and Cancer, right? But long as and you're having that discipline and you steady working towards it, you steady going after it, you are building confidence in yourself, and the universe is meeting you halfway, it's rewarding you. So this is really, really good manifestation energy. So even on a first, you're coming into this month like, I don't have this, I don't have that, I'm still struggling with this, I'm still struggling with that. Remember, like all this energy is really new. This is the beginning of the month, but as you continue and go further, just leave room, leave space for God. And I promise you, like things will change. And then you'll start to be like, okay, it's paying off. This work is paying off. If you just continue at it and you continue to have hope, you continue to have faith, and you don't necessarily don't be pessimistic. Be optimistic. It's okay to lean to optimism, especially on the first. So on the fourth, we have Venus and Virgo conjunct the South Node. So this could also be another like hard day. Um, but my the best advice that I'll say for this day is don't lean into pessimism. Remember what I was telling y'all about kind of like like, like don't be in your head when you are having, so you can enjoy the feeling, enjoy the moment, and actually reach, a orgasm, like the big O. You get what I'm saying? Like you just can't be over there getting down thinking about like your grocery list. It's not gonna work. But you have to drop into your body, you have to drop into those feelings. So on the fourth, this is a day where where that energy is being like amplified. So try not to be super like pessimistic or just like into the facts or into the details, and this is not working, that's not working, I have to pay money here, I have to do this there, I can't have fun, I'm ugly, my hair is not done, I don't have the right clothes, I don't have the right outfit. Don't get into that. But this is a really, really good day for releasing things, releasing energy, releasing possessions that no longer resonate with you. Instead of being in a critical sense of being in lack, like this is what I don't have, this is where I still need to grow, this is what I still need to do, this is what I still need to achieve, this is what I still need to accomplish. This is a good day to actually be like, you know what? This energy no longer resonates for me. Like, I'm different. I'm in a different phase of my life. I have different needs. This has served me, but this energy is no longer serving me. So it's you're letting it go. So this could be Venusian themes, like, you know what, this is no longer my style. Why do I still have this? Let me let it go. Let me just read my notes and read what I wrote for this day. Let go of control and the status quo. Let things be what they are without trying to change them. Accept reality for what it is and don't obsess over imperfections. This could apply to eating habits, fitness goals, relationship status, friendship, aesthetics, money. What area of your life can you practice more acceptance and detach from perfection? So I do think the first role of the first important thing in this and embracing this energy is to practice acceptance and just be like, you know what? Yes, I will love to be 30 pounds lighter, but this is where I am right now. Let me love myself and accept myself for where I am, you know? So practice that acceptance and don't be hypercritical, but also disconnect from the things that are not serving you. So if you know you want to be 30 pounds lighter, get rid of the Chick-fil-A app on your phone. You don't need all the fast food discounts, and you looking in the mirror whining and complaining every day. If you know one day you want to get married and you're looking for marriage, delete your roster. Like that's really the energy of this day. So you really gotta detach and just move away from things that really are not that really aren't serving you. But don't like beat yourself up. Just be in this energy of transition and letting go what no longer resonates instead of like, oh, I'm terrible, nobody love me, I'm ugly, I'm fat, I don't have this, my clothes don't fit right, and da 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 da. Just let go of shit that no longer resonates and just continue to do that and you'll be fine. October 6th, Mercury is entering Scorpio. So I actually really like this transit. I think Mercury does very, very well at Scorpio. I think people who have Mercury and Scorpio natally tend to be very, very smart, tend to be very, very intelligent people. When Mercury is in Scorpio in transit, this is very good for strategizing. This is very good for the game plan. Okay, this is very good coming with for dissecting things and coming up with a strategy. So let's say you do have some goals or the Venus and Virgo thing. You know what? It's like, okay, I'm sleeping on myself. I really want to do this. On the 6th, when Mercury goes into Scorpio, like this is the game plan. This is how many calories I need to be consuming. This is how many days I need to be put in the gym, whatever. So whatever that applies to you, this is really good for thinking, strategizing, coming up with a game plan. Like I said, in November, Mercury is going to be really funky. Mercury is going to be out of commission for a while. It's going to be in a sign that it don't do too good in. And then we going to have a Mercury retrograde. So shit going to be kind of all over the place. So anything that's dealing with like planning, detail, strategy, take advantage of that now. If you need to write something, if you need to work with other people that require some sort of like strategic communication or some sort of strategic plan or whatever, take advantage of that now. You want to get your plan and your shit together, and however you feel or whatever. Now is the time to get that shit together because in November everything's gonna be up in the motherfucking air. So you want to have the shit together beforehand versus when things get all like murky and muddy. September is a good month for just kind of being in your emotions and emotional healing. So take advantage of the like more black and white, concrete facts, detail shit now. Now's the time to take advantage of that. And also on the 6th, we have the Aries full moon. I'm not going to get into that right now. I'm going to do a full moon episode, but highly encourage you to go back and watch it. This is going to be a good Aries full moon because Mars, the planet that is ruling the full moon, is in Scorpio. So if you want to hear more details about that, watch on October 6th, my Aries full moon episode. Also, if you're listening to this and you're like, Sage, the only reason I'm listening to this so I can know how to deal with the month beforehand, I can anticipate the energy that's going on. Okay, good point. I also have a horoscope packet. So I have a fall horoscope packet. I'm not going to tell y'all, get into the nitty gritty of the details when it comes to the full moons and new moons in this episode because I have another episode of that. But if you want to know ahead of time, purchase my astrology guides for the fall and also purchase my horoscope package for the month. So my horoscope package, you go get the astrology calendar, but you also get journal prompts and a written horoscope for the month. So I do have the astrology calendars on my website for free. You can just download them. But if you purchase the packet, you're gonna get the horoscope for the month. You're gonna get journal prompts that help you with energy, some shadow work energy that you kind of may be a little bit stuck in throughout the month, and you're gonna get horoscopes for the new moon and the full moon. So if you want to know ahead of time what the Aries full moon, like what the themes are, the energies that we're gonna be working with on that day, you can go to my website right now and purchase the fall astrology guide and read what it say for Aries new moon. But you'll also get it for November and December. So you're really ahead of the game. You know what November is gonna be like. I'm over here kind of hinting at the things that we're gonna be going through in November. It's already in the fall astrology packet. December already in the fall astrology packet. So go over to my website and purchase that if you kind of want to know what that energy, the energy of these months, the energy of those lunations is going to be like ahead of time. October 7th, we have Mercury in Scorpio square Pluto in Aquarius. So this is an interesting transit. So dealing with this transit, you really do want to watch out for people who are manipulators and who are trying to control you in some sort of way, shape, form, or fashion. But for a lot of people, this could be yourself. Like this could be your own mind. So you want to watch out for that. If you know that you are a person who tends to be a little bit more on the pessimistic side, where you can like this is not a good day for the mental. So if you do, kind of like struggle in the mental arena of things, you may want to plan, some self-care, some sort of meditation to counteract the energy that we are going to be experiencing, the energy that we are getting to on this day, right? But this could also be a day where people are trying to with your brain, like mess with your mind, try to manipulate you or control you in some sort of way. And it can also be power dynamics at play. So let's say you are ascending, you're leveling up in the world, and you are falling out of, um different frequencies when it comes to people. So let's say like, you no longer resonate with the dynamic that you have with your partner or a friend or your boss, or you're no longer resonating with, the dynamic in your workplace or whatever. You kind of fall back from that. This could be an energy where something kind of comes in and check you or try to manipulate you or be like, "Oh, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do this to you." It's like they're trying to F with your brain. So be careful of that. Be wary of that and don't fall into the traps. Or this could just be a energy mentally where you are kind of like beating yourself up, and it could be cause for some sort of growth or transformation that you have to go through mentally. So don't be pessimistic or obsessive. Watch out for bad thoughts on this day. There could be a clarity that emerges when you see the difference between where you are now and where you want to be. But remember to think positive about the process of the journey, logically and positively. So yeah, you don't want to get into obsessive or like overly pessimistic energy. But also this can be a day, or this could be the energy of embracing your worst fears or being confronted with things, with the thought process that you're elevating past, or being confronted with like a mental fear or some sort of mental challenge that you have. But if you really sit with that energy, that's when you get the upgrade, because Pluto and Aquarius is truly upgrade energy. Anytime Pluto and Aquarius get activated through a transit or by another planet touching it or contacting it, this is energy that is encouraging us to grow, that is encouraging us to evolve, that is encouraging us to level up in some sort of way, embrace a new reality, and get acclimated with that. And sometimes that transformation could just be uncomfortable or painful, or it can trigger like weird shit within us, weird shit in then other people. And then remember that Mercury in Scorpio is always egging for control. So there's going to be some sort of part of you that wants to control, or that wants to control the transformation, or it can just be parts of your nervous system that is reaching for something that is familiar. So let's say you embrace a new reality, you in a new role, you trying new things, you are taking a leap of faith, you are, this is could be the all right. So back to the dieting type thing, like you deleted the Chick-fil-A app off your phone. You like, fuck that. I want to lose 30 pounds. I'm gonna lose 30 pounds beginning of the month. On the fourth, you beating yourself up. It's like, oh, I'm fat and I'm ugly. And then you're like, you know what? Mercury Scorpio, I'm deleting my app or my Chick-fil-A app on my phone. This is my personal trainer. I'm going to the gym such days a week. This is the amount of calories that I'm gonna have. Okay, and on this day, on the 7th, okay, that Mercury Pluto transit, this could be one of your girlfriends like calling you up like, "Hey girl, like let's go, to happy hours and drink $5 margaritas at Chili's." And you like, "You know what? I ain't drinking alcohol right now. I'm trying to lock in. I really want to lose 30 pounds." And then she like, "Bitch, you think you better than me? You since when you too good for Fridays? When you too good for our $5 margaritas?" You like, "You know what? I'm not too good for Fridays." You get what I'm saying? I just really want to lose fucking 30 pounds. And it's like, "Well, fuck you, bitch, and that's why you did." That is the energy of this day. So when you are not, that's like your nervous system trying to get you to get out of a calorie deficit. When you in your brain, you know you need to be in a calorie deficit, but your mind, your body is used to being in a calorie fucking surplus. You get what I'm saying? So that's how that energy of this day is gonna be manifesting. I warned you. Get past it. Don't fall for the okie doke. On the 8th, we have Venus and Virgo sextiling Jupiter and Cancer. So if you're struggling on the 4th, this energy can come in and give you more grace. This is a sense that the problem is the end of the world. It can, and I can make it better, right? Luck or a solution may come in. It is good for money as well. This is the energy of, okay. So Venus is a benefic, Jupiter is a benefic. Whenever these two planets meet each other in the sky is really good energy, is the energy of motivation, is the energy of optimism, is the energy of accepting. So you could have had the phone call with your friend. She was saying like you too good for them, whatever, bitch, you think you better than me. And then that could have like made you feel sad. It's like, you know what? I'm just trying to become a better me. I'm just trying to stick to my goals and my friends not supporting me and they like beat me up over it and you kind of feeling sad. But on this day, you know, you get a discount to Planet Fitness or your trainer give you an extra free session. So it could just be something that comes in that kind of like motivates you, that like takes away that negative feeling and just kind of reminds you, encourages you to stay dedicated to the path, that encourages you to continue to do what you set out to do, continue to do what you want to do. So this is really good energy. And like I said, it's good for those Venusian things that I kind of said we're struggling at the beginning of the month. This is the energy of like a little kiss, make it better, kind of helping get motivating you. Nice feel good energy, nice feel good day. On the 11th, we have Venus and Virgo opposes Saturn and Pisces. So again, this is gonna be another day of struggle, another day where you're like, like challenges a little bit. But Saturn, sometimes it can challenge you, but a lot of times Saturn is coming in with like very constructive energy and it's just being like, okay, you said you want this, you said you want to do this, like where are we at? Saturn is go like fact check you or discipline check you and see what you've been doing. How are we working towards this? How are we actualizing this? Like, how are we coming up with the results? Like, where are we in the process? That's what Saturn likes to do. So, um, yeah, so in my notes, I put Saturn gives the role necessary to maintain the energy. So Saturn is like, okay, this is the right track, but this is where the structure and discipline and coming into play. This is what we have to do to maintain this energy. This is what we have to do to steady go after this energy. Like this is what needs to be done. Like this is what constructive needs to be done. So this could just again like be that act of discipline or support that's truly going to help you see your goals, see throughout your goals, which is why I love the Saturn energy that is in the sky this fall, because sometimes it is good. In the moment, Saturn can feel harsh. It could be harsh because it can just feel like a struggle or upward battle. And sometimes it could feel like setbacks. It can truly feel like limitations. But when you get over it, you feel like fucking Thanos after he snapped his fingers. Like, there is a sense of, or like tough love from a coach. You know what I mean? Like when you are trying, if you're an athlete and you're trying to go through something or you're trying to be good at a game or something like that, and then you have a coach that is just on your ass, but they on your ass because they love you. And then you listen to the feedback from the coach and next game you body that shit. You do your big one, you do good. Like this is why I love the energy of Saturn, because in the moment sometimes it could be like, damn, in a moment it could sometimes be like, dang, there's still work I need to do. Dang, I haven't got it yet. But when you take that constructive criticism, think about Thanos. Think about all the things that he has to come. He has to be every single last one of the Avengers to carry out his goal. But when he carried out his goal, he did that shit so well, he didn't want to motherfucking live no more. That nigga accomplished what he wanted to accomplish, then he went to go die. And because he did that shit. When you ball that hard, I'm not saying Thanos was a good person, but like in his brain, when you ball that hard, it's such a sense of completion because you overcame that shit and you bodied that shit. It's like sometimes you did it and you just like there's nothing else to be done. You know, I'm off on a tangent here, but basically what I'm saying is that constructive criticism from the universe could be a good thing. Constructive criticism in general could be a good thing. It's about perspective, okay? So every time you have a little challenge, a little setback, or a little you can improve here, you can work harder here, you can do this here, and you're just like, nah, I'm not there yet. Nah, life's so hard, it's so hard. Da, 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 da. But when you change your perspective and you like, you know what? God wants me to be great. The universe wants me to do my big one. And you take that and you eat that shit and you level up, you're gonna feel like Thanos. October 13th, Venus enters Libra. So this is a really good transit. While Venus was struggling in Virgo, she over here like trying to make the best of what the fuck she got, even though she feeling bloated, ugly, fat, and disgusted. Okay, when she gets into Libra, she's gonna be like, you know what? I was tripping. I am that bitch. I always was that bitch. Like that's how Venus is gonna feel when she gets in Libra. So really, really good transit. Venus is she rules the sign of Libra, so she does really good in this sign. So it's good for Venetian things. You're gonna feel a little bit happy. You're gonna feel like, you know what? I got rid of all this stuff that was in my closet that's not my style. So now I have the pieces in my closet that make me feel good about myself. Like bitch, I'm feeling myself. I want to go outside. Now, you with the girls, you dropped 30 pounds. You know what? Girl, I'm not gonna go and, get drunk drinking $5 margaritas at Chili's, but you know what? We could go, to the club. I'll have me a little, what's a healthy low calorie drink? Little club soda. You get what I'm saying? A little mocktail. Like you're feeling yourself. You starting to see the results, or you just starting to feel like more happy about yourself. So Venus in Libra is good for money, aesthetics, networking, connection. Things get better, and we're kind of out of that like victim mentality, struggle Venus and Virgo energy. But when Venus goes into Libra, she's going to make a opposition to Neptune and Aries because Neptune is at the beginning of Aries. So what does this mean? So the planet Neptune likes to distort things. It likes to distort energy. So I would say this. Libra is a sign about balance. It's a sign about community, friendship, it's a sign about relationships. And Neptune and Aries could dissolve the individual. So around the day of the 13th, it's important to not kind of have a blending quality, like know where you start and know where others end. So don't take on like other people's responsibilities, don't take on other people's problems, don't take on other people's issues, and still be grounded in your individualism. So this could honestly be the energy of someone just being so high and like doped up off of themselves and love or whatever that they need someone that's like, oh my God, you're my soulmate. No, no, no. You just like merge souls like immediately. So kind of still have a sense of like groundedness and practicality. I There's a positivity to Neptunian energy, but just don't let it be in the extreme. So it's fun to play in a fantasy if you know it's a fantasy. But if you play it in a fantasy and if you don't know it's a fantasy, it's not fun. It's a problem. Okay? So know that fine line, know that difference. The other thing I want to say about this transit is that it is really good for creative energy. Venus and Libra is very good for aesthetics, is very good for creativity, is very good for networking with people and things of that nature. So if you know you kind of got a network, okay, this is off on another tangent, but if you know you have to network with someone, it could be like kind of hard, or you want to pull something off and it could be kind of hard, you could kind of use this Neptunian distortion energy to your advantage. So let's say you want to like pull two people together that could be kind of like difficult to pull together. You want to, shoot your shot at something. And you're like, you know what? They ain't go accept me. You can try. This is a good day to try. So this is a good day to be delusional when it kind of comes to that sort of thing. And this is also really good energy for creatives. So like if you are an artist or you want to create something or you want to write, that Neptunian dreamy energy could kind of like help you along with that process. But it's important not to just kind of like when it comes to people's situation and things and just like absorb it and become a part of it with no boundaries to where you're taking on other people's stuff. So beware of that. On the 14th, we also have Venus in Libra making a trine to Uranus in Gemini and Pluto in Aquarius. So this is crazy energy. This is going to be a crazy motherfucking day. I will say, be open to meeting new people and going to new places and trying new things, even if it's out of your comfort zone a little bit. But if you are an introvert, this energy could be really overstimulating at the same time. So if you are an extrovert, if you're a creative, if you're out there, this could be the type of energy or the type of day where shit just happens and you make shit happen. You make the connections that you need to make, or you get hit with like the new ideas and the new downloads. You're like, you know what, I'm gonna create this and meet this person. Whoa, we could do this, we could do that. But if you are more so of an introverted type of person, the energy of this day could just be over fucking stimulating. But this is honestly like manic energy tied in a pretty bow. So kind of beware of that. Now, if you are a person who's going to use that manic energy to your advantage, or you're going to create, or you're going to do something, or you're just going to get into like a mood where you just like eating that shit, handling that shit, creating, working on doing a creative design, working on a website, or networking, going to people, going out, like passing out flyers or whatever, that's good. But if you're not more so that person, like if you can't keep up with energy like that, this is just a good day to just kind of feel the niceness of Venus and lean into the more like aesthetic things and just kind of just beware of overstimulation. And this could just honestly be the energy of like a whole bunch of different people and different scenarios and different situations being brought together at once and bonding over something. It's interesting to see what goes on in the world around this time, around this day, because it's just the energy of a whole bunch of like different cultures collecting, different people collecting, connecting, different cultures, different people connecting, like getting together with each other, exchanging information, exchanging ideas, exchanging ways and walkway, exchanging ways of life. And this is also energy where we can like aesthetically get introduced to some new art or some new sort of aesthetic or some new cultural things that you can use to your advantage. So really cool, interesting day. But it could be overstimulating if you are not a person who's that, if you more so of a slow, boring gal, like traditional gal, this shit could be like, what the fuck? Cause this is people from all over the world doing fucking coke at a like a huge party, and you're just like, what the fuck going on, So yeah, cool day. 17th, we have the sun square Jupiter in Cancer. So I like this day. Again, it's like the sun in Libra. It's kind of like that balance, that rational mind, kind of looking at things and having like a practical sense of things. Whereas Jupiter in Cancer is like, ooh, but you kind of see this new opportunity or this new blessing on the horizon that you can really like embrace and sink into and actualize and activate. So really, really cool shit. Um, so for my notes, I said, feel important to give yourself what you need despite social pressure or maybe looking a certain way or being self-sacrificial to others before you extend help or nurture yourself. So that is another way that this energy can manifest, because that sun Libra energy, the sun doesn't do well in Libra. The sun is our ego, right? It's our identity, it's our sense of self. And we also kind of have all this Libra energy that's like wanting to help, that's wanting to exchange, that's want to, do the things. So this could kind of manifest as peer pressure in a way of that Jupiter in Cancer, that faith, that shiny object, that thing that you want to achieve, that you want to go after, is kind of on the horizon. So that blessing, type energy, or that, ooh, that would be nice. Ooh, I think I want this. And then the sun in Libra is like, okay, am I going to, like sacrifice or let go of this, or betray my sense of self, betray my sense of identity to get this thing, or feel like I belong in this thing. And I will watch out for that because Venus being in Libra with all those crazy outer planet energy that's contacting, that's going on. So be grounded, have a sense of self, still be optimistic about the Jupiter and Cancer thing. Still be optimistic about the blessing. Still be optimistic about the candy on the horizon, the nice thing, the benefit that hasn't fully actualized yet. Like, it's okay to feel good about those things, but just remember to have balance and don't be self-sacrificial, or don't feel so negative about the obstacles that you perceive that's blocking you from achieving it. On the 20th, Mercury in Scorpio conjunct Mars in Scorpio. So this is a day again to watch out for. This is not a good mental day. Mercury is our mind, okay, and Mars is Mars. I was saying in the beginning how I love Mars and Scorpio because it's good for our agency, it's good for action, it's good for going after things. But Mars is like feisty. Mars is inflammatory. Mars is cutting. Sometimes Mars says things that does things that are not liked, does things that are not well received. Mars could be divisive. So this is a very, very argument prone day. Avoid being in your head or being one-sided or trying to hurt people with words. Also, be sure to drive carefully. So, yes, this is a good day to drive carefully. Whenever I see Mars and Scorpio, whenever I see Mars and Mercury together, I'm always wary of, like transportation. So, like cars, car wreck and shit. Drive safely on the road. This could be a day where people are having road rage and shit like that. So, if somebody got road rage, just kind of like let them have their little moment and just like chill the fuck out, because you don't want to fucking get in an accident. You know your insurance is not up to date, girl. But anyway, I'm just playing. But anyways, yeah, this is also another argument prone day. So again, like this could just be people like getting into arguments or disagreements and stuff like that, or just saying mean things or trying to hurt others with your words, things of that nature. So just kind of be aware of that and just, like take it easy. And also, this is a day where your brain could just be overactive, like thoughts racing. Try not to be pessimistic. Again, I do like to use this Martian energy for strategizing, for game planning, for that type of thing. But just like beware of being pessimistic, beware of being in your head. And if your head is overly active, if it's racing, you have a lot of thoughts and shit, just like that, just kind of try and get some physical activity in, go for a walk, go work out, go do something like that, write, read a book, get it out. And I can also see this being a very dramatic day on the internet, like people are arguing into arguments or some shit like that, or people just spreading like decisive words, people spreading decisive ideas, that sort of thing. So just kind of watch out for that sort of energy on the 20th. On the 21st, it's the Libra new moon and Mercury into shadow. So Mercury in the shadow, I told y'all Mercury is going retrograde in November. So kind of watch out for like little problems or things or shit that occur. Um, if a new problem occurs. I don't even know what I was trying to say. But if a new problem arises on this day, like, just kind of watch out for it. It could be weird Mercury retrograde shit. So just beware. But it's also the day of the Libra new moon. So again, if you do want to know what the Libra new moon is about, watch my podcast when I do the Libra New Moon episode. But if you want to know what it's about right now, you can go to my website right now, purchase my fall horoscope guide right now, and read the Libra New Moon horoscope right now. And it also has journal prompts. So even on that day, okay, even if you listen on the even on the 21st, if you listen to the Libra New Moon podcast, but you want journal prompts to like work through that energy, they're on my website right now. Go purchase them. On the 22nd, we have Neptune retrograding back into Pisces. So Neptune retrograding back into Pisces is a complete vibe shift from Neptune being in Aries. So Neptune being in Aries is more so being dreamy about you being, an individual, or kind of having more optimism about, new ventures, new things that you want to experience in life, or new roles that you want to take on, or new adventures that you want to take on, and kind of like dreaming about it, being optimistic about it. It's like, you know what, I never thought I could be a fucking ballerina, but I want to, be a ballerina. I want to start taking ballet classes, that sort of thing. Whereas Neptune being in Pisces is a complete vibe shift, where it's just like this dreamy Neptunian sort of distortive energy. So it's good for being optimistic, prioritize healing. Neptune being in Pisces is really, really good for healing. Like, planets and energies always have a shadow side. So, you know, on one end, you can say that Neptune and Pisces is being delusional. But in a more grounded sense, you can say that Neptune and Pisces is good for healing. You know, on one end, you could say that Jupiter is about abundance. On another end, you can say that Jupiter is about like gluttony, or being, super excessive or wasteful. So there's always a good and bad to any archetypal energy. But, choose the good side of things, y'all. So Neptune and Pisces is good for being optimistic, prioritizing healing, but again, remember to have structure. This is a time where we need to be structured. Um, and I say that it is important to have a plan and structure before this energy. It is, because Neptune and Pisces energy could be deceptive and it could throw you off. So if you have a structure and plan before this energy, this could kind of be like that creative boost, or that, like optimism that you need. And it's like, you know what? Yeah, I could really accomplish this. I can really do this. But if you don't have that structure and plan before this energy, it could kind of be like trying to manifest something and the sand just falling between your hands. So if you use that Mars and Scorpio energy at the beginning of the month, where you come up with a plan, you coming up with the things that you want to do, so you kind of already know what you want to do or whatever, and you're like, okay, yeah, like, let's get the ground rolling, and the ideas and the downloads start to come in and drop into your head, and you actualizing them and all of that shit. Versus that, if you don't have the framework that you want before this planetary shift, before, Neptune goes back into Pisces, you just be again trying to manifest stuff, and it's just like you have no backbone, you have no solid foundation, you have no ground, so it's just like falling between your fingers like sand. So it could be just this optimism, or these ideas, or sort of this dreaminess that you can't actually actualize, like you're getting nowhere with it. It's like people trying to start a startup or have a startup business, and they just sit there and fantasize about bullshit all day. It's like, oh yeah, we could do this and you could do that and you could do, but nobody gets the shit off the ground. So you don't want that to be you. October is such an important month. Like, I keep emphasizing this. So you do want to have your shit together before the beginning of the month, because in October, going to November, things are going to feel very dreamy, feel very idealistic, almost to the point where you're kind of like, what the hell is going on? It's very ungrounded energy. But if you have the grounding beforehand, you can kind of use that energy for like optimism and manifestation and just creativity. If you have that concrete foundation to build on. Also, on this day, on the 22nd, the sun ingresses into Scorpio. So happy Scorpio season. Happy birthday to all the Scorpios. Period. On October 24th, we have Mercury in Scorpio trining Jupiter in Cancer. So I really, 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 really do like this transit. It's good for deep thinking, healing, shadow work, journal prompts. It's good for seeing the bright side of things. And it is also a deeply emotional day. And we're also having the Scorpio Sun square Pluto on this day. So this is a day that I will circle and pay attention to. October 24th is a day to pay attention to. If you are feeling weird on October 24th, there's a good reason why, right? I do feel like this energy is very good for healing. Like I said, kind of when I was talking about, I think Mercury and Pluto. So when you have Scorpio energy, it's always going to be, when you have Scorpio energy, it's always going to be grasping for some sense of control or for some sense of what's familiar. And a lot of times, Scorpio energy will want to manipulate its way into gaining a sense of having emotional comfort. So Scorpio energy will like to manipulate situations, places, things, ideas in order to feel a sense of familiarity or control, or they will literally manipulate. Not they being Scorpios, but let's just talk about Scorpio energy archetypically. People will literally manipulate to experience some sort of emotional comfort, right? But then you have this transformative energy of Pluto, where Pluto in Aquarius is completely foreign. Every time Pluto in Aquarius is being in contact, it could kind of feel like, what the fuck? Just like abstract ideas or abstract things, or just like this sense of transformation that you're feeling called to do. This new foreign energy, these new foreign ideas, these new foreign just constructs, things that don't feel familiar to you, that's asking you to go there. Pluto in Aquarius is asking you to go there. It's asking you to dive deep. It's asking you to transform. And I really do feel like this day is going to be about fear. Something could scare the shit out of you on this day and trigger something deep within you that you haven't healed. It could trigger something deep within you that you need to work on. Okay? And that Pluto and Aquarius is like, let's work on this. Let's unpack this shit so you can be that bitch. All right. But then the lower side of Scorpio is gonna be afraid of that emotional intensity and try to manipulate and control. So if you find yourself being manipulated on this day, or if you find yourself trying to manipulate something, another person, place, or thing, a situation, you're doing it fucking wrong. But if you embrace the emotional intensity and emotional discomfort of change, of dying, of embracing the new, you're doing something fucking right. So October 24th, if you are experiencing the energy of manipulation from someone, they're tweaking they up in the head. And if you are trying to manipulate another person, or if you're trying to manipulate a situation, you're not doing the work. You trying to cheat code your way out of an upgrade. But if you feel a little bit emotional, if you feel emotional discomfort, you're doing something right. You're upgrade and you're gonna receive that blessing. So when we have that Mercury in Scorpio trining Jupiter in Cancer, that's that blessing. That's that shit just go work together. How I said at the beginning, Mercury energy and Jupiter energy could sometimes be antithetical to each other. Or Mercury is the facts and the logic, and Jupiter is the faith and belief. Faith is literally an illogical thing. All right, but when those energy blend together, it's the most beautiful thing. Like, okay, this makes sense on paper, but I also do see how luck is on my side. So you can kind of have that. If you sit there and you do the work, then you can have the sort of like the push, the nudge from the universe, or the help from the divine, or help from divinity that helps you actualize what you need to actualize and get to where you need to be, achieve what you want to achieve. Is truly beautiful. So, this is a great, great, great day for healing. I read this once, but I'm going to emphasize it again. So, good for deep thinking, good for healing, good for shadow work, journal prompts, good for seeing the bright side of things. Deeply emotional day. So this is a deeply emotional day. But if some shit that's been sitting on your head, some that's been sitting on your heart that you know that you need to work through, this is a good day to handle that. And this is a good day to work through it. On the 25th, we have Mercury in Scorpio making a trine to Saturn in Pisces. So this is the grounded aspect of healing that comes through now that you have the optimism and groundwork. So on the 24th, it could be discomfort. And then, like the optimism and then the working through it kind of comes through. And so then the Saturn and Pisces piece, okay, that's again the practicality. But this is how we're going to put this into practice. This is how we're going to emphasize this. This is how we're going to stay solidified in this energy. You want to watch out for self-sabotaging because again, when you kind of experience that discomfort or Saturn comes in and reality checks you or challenges you in some sort of way, you kind of want to get into the fucking self-sabotage because you want to do the thing that feels familiar. So if the emotions feel intense on this day, dig deeper, find the truth, find I do feel like this could be a quest for truth and a search for truth. So let's say you're trying to manifest or actualize a goal and an obstacle comes through and it could like trigger you, could really trigger you emotionally, you know? And then like these feelings of lack or a feeling of pessimism or a feeling of not having faith comes through, but I feel like a lot of times those emotions are scapegoat because truly, like, what's underneath the surface? I kind of think of this like when it comes to something that you want, a lot of times people be willing to give up too easily, like so easily. And to me, it's almost a sense of why do you want to give up so easily? Or it can be a sense of entitlement. Like, why do you think that? You are not going to like you are above being touched. You are above some sort of hardships. You are above some sort of challenge from the universe. Like if you really, really want something, if you think God is not gonna test you to see how bad you want it, you're delusional. That's crazy. What makes you think that you are above a little bit of test? So I think a lot of times we find because what I'm trying to say is if you truly want something, you go be okay with the test. You go be okay with the setbacks because you know that you really want that shit. You get what I'm saying? If you really want it, you know that you really want it. So if you want to lose weight and you like been hitting the gym and let's say like, one machine broke or something, that don't mean you ain't gonna go on another machine. That ain't mean you go pick up a dumbbell. That don't mean you ain't gonna go for a walk. Like if you really want something, you're really going to go after that thing. But a lot of times we find excuses to validate us giving up. So truly, what is that about? Because 9 times out of 10, that goes to some sort of wound that you're not healing. I truly feel like in situations like that, 9 times out of 10 it goes to some wound that you're not healing. It's some sort of thing that you haven't soothed with like your inner child or. So find the truth, like discover whatever that energy is really about or whatever is really underneath the surface and integrate it and heal it and bridge the gap so you aren't staying stuck in loops and circles and cycles and you aren't continuing to make a mistake or you aren't like using these lame ass excuses as a co-op out of staying basic. That's a nice way to put it. And like I said, we are in trine energy. So a lot of times like these is gonna be backtracking. So on October 28th, we have Mars in Scorpio making a trine to Jupiter in Cancer. I really like this day. This is good to journal. This is really good for manifestation. This is really good for going after you want. Don't overdo it. Sometimes Mars and Jupiter can overdo it. So if you are, just remember to have moderation, whatever you do. Some people gonna be getting pregnant on this day too. This some freaky ass energy. I'll say that. But remember to have, if you ovulating around October 28th, bitch, watch out. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Whatever you do on this day, don't overdo it, okay? Jupiter and Mars together, it could be overdoing it. It could be doing the effing most. So this is really good for getting shit done. All right, for whatever, but just do not overdo it, bitch. If you and your been beat out, y'all get to argument. It's giving I'm an in you makeup sex. All right, be careful, bitch. Damn. Okay, okay, okay. Whew. Don't overdo it on this day, but it's really good for activity. It's really good for getting things done. It's really good for handling things, all of that shit. We have a lot of transits on the 29th, so I'm gonna read y'all the transits. Now I'm gonna go back and read the notes. So we have Mercury and Scorpio making a trine to Neptune and Pisces. Mercury is going to enter Sagittarius, so this is when shit start to get murky. Like I told y'all, November is gonna be a very murky month. That energy is initiating, is coming into play on the 29th. And we also have Mars and Scorpio trine Saturn and Pisces. So, Mercury and Scorpio making a trine of Neptune and Pisces. This is good for healing, but again, beware of delusion. If an idea is presented that isn't fully making sense, you should be able to easily spot it. If your ex comes back telling you a story that they are better now and no longer a piece of shit, but they still with another woman, don't believe it, okay? Like I said, y'all need to have the plan. Y'all need to know what you want to do. You need to know before this energy hits the fan, because if you don't have no sort of sense of what you want, or if you don't have like a ground, a marking point, and you get into all this delusion, Neptunian over ideal, like this is the gift of gab. This is people telling you lies. This is people telling you a story that you want to hear, okay? So if you don't have that groundwork beforehand, bitch, you gonna be motherfucking lost in the goddamn sauce. So you need to know what your goals are, what you want to do, what you want to achieve, what you want to actualize before this energy hits the fan, or otherwise your ass is gonna be motherfucking lost, okay? But if you already do know, this energy is good for creativity and optimism, okay? Stay grounded, y'all. Stay grounded, my girls. Then Mercury's go into Sagittarius. This is when shit is going to stop making fucking practical sense. Mercury in Scorpio makes practical sense. Mercury in Scorpio has a game plan. Mercury in Sagittarius is drunk. Your brain not where you're not making sense. You're not thinking logically. You're not think this is the day where your common sense is going to fly out the fucking window. So have your common sense together before it flies out the window. Cause even though you ain't gonna have no brain, you can remember your fucking goals, okay? Like, I don't know if this is making sense. So when your common sense flies out the window, you need to already have the game plan. It's okay for your common sense to fly out the windows if you have the roadmap and the game plan, because you can stick to the roadmap and game plan when your common sense fly out the window. But if you didn't have the roadmap and the game plan, your common sense fly out the window, you just gonna be doing shit to do shit. I hope this makes sense. Mercury into Sagittarius. This is where the energy is becoming more ungrounded, so just be aware that this is a good time to just be in the moment and be a little free flowing. Confusion will arise. It's okay to not have answers and experience delays and miscommunications, but also just know this is the time where we are currently in and it will pass. The energy is shifting to being more present and easygoing. So yeah, when Mercury is in Sagittarius, people are not going to be understanding what you're saying. You're going to be making plans. There's going to be miscommunications. You're going to tell someone, bitch, I needed 50 lip glosses ordered, you know, and then they're going to give you 25. And you're like, where are the other 25? It's like, I thought you only need 25. It's like, no, I told you I need 50. Okay, so this is when stuff is not going to start making sense. There's going to be miscommunications. There are going to be delays. Your Amazon package is not coming out on time. It's cool. You know, your man, your child, your best friend, whoever is gonna think that they could conquer the world and they trying to get you in on an action. This is the energy of Dr. Umar saying donate to his school. Even though we know he not gonna build a motherfucking school. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. So if it's October 29th, okay, and your friend is the new Dr. Umar and they over here telling you that they go build a school and they want you to invest in it, wait until December before you send your money. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Okay? It's October 29th and your man is trying to get you to move to Ghana. Just be like, entertain the idea. You don't have to kill egos. You don't have to kill dreams. But just know he might not be feeling this way in 2 months. Okay? Okay. So go slow. Whenever Mercury is being challenged and we are experiencing miscommunication or delays or things like that, I always say this is good to be in the present moment. This is good to go slow. A lot of times, miscommunications, misdirections, stuff like that, little delays, it's just God's timing, God's planning. So if you are a grounded person with Mercury being in Sagittarius, is actually really good for healing. It's good for having downloads. So if you are that type of person who kind of receive downloads, if you locked in with God like that, God could kind of give you ideas, answer to questions, some healing, or just some things that you didn't think about that kind of shifts your perspectives on things and help you, throughout life. Last thing I want to talk about on this day, Mars is Scorpio making a trine to Saturn and Pisces. So this is practical work that'll take you far. People could be questioning their faith around this time just a bit. Don't lose sight of faith or a higher purpose, although you may have to work with what. Oh, wait. Don't lose sight of faith or a higher purpose, although you may have to do what you have to do, okay? How I said before, Mars and Saturn working together is really beautiful energy. Mars is going to be that action, Saturn is going to be that discipline and consistency, okay? Saturn is the manager, and Mars and Scorpio is the very competent employee. So be the very competent employee, but have that motivation and that discipline of a manager on your ass. I say that people could kind of lose sight of faith because of the whole Mercury and Sagittarius thing. So again, like it could just be, like people could lose sight of faith, but it could also just be shit just not making sense. Like, I don't know how else to explain it, but stuff kind of just stop making sense. It can be come the 29th, you could truly feel like you are in a twilight zone. So this is good for healing. It's just not good for practical things. If you don't have a sense of groundedness before we get into this energy, it could just be just you could just feel like you spinning your wheels or shit just not making sense, or you're in a twilight zone. You like, what the f is going on? Like, what is happening? Okay, but don't let that be discouraging. Stick to the plan, because I promise you, if you already had the plan before, and if you continue to stick through the plan, like on the 29th, it's like this fog descends over your reality. And if you continue your roadmap, your game plan throughout the fog, when you come out of the fog, your reality is going to be effing amazing. Because through that fog, you're going to realize how much work and how much growth and how much hard work you've done. And you're going to start to see that materializing. Okay. But if you just kind of like surrender to the fog and just like, just lost in MF and sauce, baby, you gonna wake up and just be like, whoa, okay. Now, if you didn't have the game plan, the fall could be healing for you. And you could like heal. You can get through you could get the downloads that you need to do to make change, to work, to overcome some things, to handle some things. Or you can just be over idealistic, lost in the sauce. All right. On the 30th, Mercury in Sagittarius will make a sextile to Pluto in Aquarius. So crazy ideas, nice food for thought type day. Again, this is a day where I would be careful driving. Mercury in Sagittarius, not good for driving. Pluto energy is a wild card, it's dramatic, it's extreme. Accidents could happen. So just be careful, be safe on the road. I love y'all. I don't want nothing bad to happen to y'all. The energy is a bit intense, is good for abstract ideas and concepts, bad for seriousness, and is bad for structure. So again, we're getting into that energy where your brain's a little bit loopy. So things are a little bit loopy. It's not best for the most concrete things, but it is good for abstract things. If you are a person who are working with people, if you work with very mercurial things where it's like organizing, networking with people, you order stuff, you kind of looking at facts and details and things like that, just have patience if stuff is a little weird around this time. We go come out this energy. Just give it a month or so and then everything's going to make more sense. But just again, it's good for creativity, experiencing downloads, just like having ideas pop into your head, or even if you're not the type of person where you get downloads, this could be the type of energy of meeting a person or just having a conversation with a friend or a coworker or a loved one or something like that. And they're telling you the thing that you needed to hear that you didn't know that you needed to hear, that ends up helping you out in your situation. So, really good, really positive, really nice energy. This has been the Sageology podcast forecast for the month of October. If you like this, please share with a friend. Please send it to a friend. Remember to purchase my fall astrology guide. This fall is so important. How I went on this spiel at the beginning saying that this fall, the fall of 2025, is so important, y'all. So important, y'all. Really, the fall of 2025 is like the end of the year. I always think of years in terms of the seasons because I'm an astrologer. So for me, I'm thinking like fall 2025 is just like the fall of the year. While I'm thinking the winter of like, January, February, March. I'm in my head, I view the winter as still being in 2025, even though I know it's not. But the fall of 2025 is like the end of the year because October is month 10, and there's only 2 months after that. But in my head, I kind of view October as like month like 9 or 8. But anyways, y'all, things are shifting around at the end of this year. You want to pay attention to it because we are in a new reality. The stuff that is happening around this time could be the beginning of stuff that is really important in your life in the years to come. So you do want to take advantage of this. You can purchase my fall astrology guide on my website. If you like this podcast, if you enjoy this podcast, send it to a friend. All right, leave a comment, write a review, but really just share. If you share, that would mean the world to me. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, subscribe to my YouTube channel. And always, if you guys want to book a reading with me, um, my services are up on my website. I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for listening to me and tuning in to another episode of the Sageology podcast. I pray that you have a very blessed and prosperous October. Shit get a little bit weird in November, but stay tuned if you want to know what that energy is about. I love y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. Bye.